Hey everyone, hope you're all okay. My name's Rosie and today I'm going to be talking about my 2014 genre challenge. What that means is I've set myself the challenge of reading from 12 different genres. Now, if you've read my blog or watched my videos before, you will know that I've really got an affinity for dystopian novels, so this is my kind of way of trying to read outside of that comfy little dystopian bubble and try and expand and broaden my horizons a little bit. I should mention that this genre challenge wasn't all my idea. I got it from a blog post I read sometime last year, and I will link to the original blog post below just to give credit where credit's due. I wouldn't have thought of it on my own, so I can't really pretend it's my idea, and I wouldn't want you guys to think it was just my idea. What I'm going to do is briefly talk about each of the 12 books I've chosen, give a little bit of background information on the book and the reason why I've chosen it. The first genre is crime fiction, and my choice for that is Blindsighted by Karin. I've read a couple of books of hers before and I absolutely loved them, and I read them out of order, so to me it made sense to go back to the start because although she's written a couple of different series, they all kind of, the characters intertwine. So this is the first one in the Grant County series, I think, and it follows coroner Sarah Linton and her ex-husband Jeffrey as they try to solve the case of a young professor who's been found brutally mutilated. The second genre is detective fiction, and I have chosen Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. In this book, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson are called to the aid of the Baskerville family, who are cursed by this hound. Basically, that's my short description. I wanted to read a Sherlock Holmes novel, but I actually wanted to read A Study in Scarlet, but my local library hadn't got that, so that was the one I decided to pick up and read it because I wanted to give it a go. The third genre is mystery fiction, and for that I've chosen The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, who we all know turned out to be J.K. Rowling. I know it's definitely on amazon.co.uk, I don't know about any others, but the product description, instead of talking about what the book's about, it just simply says something along the lines of the first crime book by J.K. Rowling under the pen name of Robert Galbraith. What does that tell me? I know it's J.K. Rowling, she's great, but what if I want to know about the book? It's about a struggling private investigator who he's having financial issues until this guy walks in with like a fantastic case, or a high profile case. His sister was a famous supermodel, and a few months earlier she died, and the police decided that it was suicide, but he's not convinced by that. So it follows the detective as he tries to figure out what happened. The next genre is thriller fiction, and my choice might surprise you, but I haven't read it yet, obviously, and that's The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. This is a book I've been meaning to read for years. My mum read it years and years ago, and it's been sat on our bookshelf in the house, and for some reason I've never read it yet, so this year I'm going to read it. If you don't know, the rough kind of blurb is Detective Robert Langdon is called onto a case where the Louvre's curator has been found dead with all these strange markings, and as he tries to figure out what's gone on, he realises that these markings lead back to Leonardo da Vinci's work. That's as much as I've looked into it. The next genre is romance fiction, and I've chosen Chocolate Wishes by Trisha Ashley. You have no idea how long it took me to say all of that right without getting tongue-tied. This is about a chocolate maker called Chloe Leon who lives in Sticklepond, which, if you remember, is the setting for Wish Upon a Star, so I think the characters all intertwine with her books. She's recently been left at the altar, and one day the new vicar rolls into town, and it turns out that he was her first love, but he broke her heart, so I guess it kind of follows that story. The reason I chose this is that I don't really like blue books, they don't do anything for me, and for some reason when you try to look at romance, most of it is just like 50 Shades of Grey rip-offs, and I'm not interested in that. But as I say, I read a book by Trisha Ashley earlier in the year and I really liked it. It wasn't blue, it was just a really nice story, so I'm excited to read this one. The next one is science fiction, and my choice is Prodigy by Marie Lu. I have actually just finished this. I finished it a couple of days ago and I really enjoyed it, but more on that in the January roundup, which will be coming in a couple of weeks. And because Prodigy is the second book in a series, I'm not going to talk about this at all because it will ruin Legend for you if you haven't read that, so I'm sorry, but the reason I chose it is because I love Legend so much, and if you want to read my review of Legend, just go to eatreadglam.com and you'll be able to find it on there if you search for it. In fact, I might actually leave a link in the description box below, so if you want to find out more, have a look, but if you like dystopian science fiction, then I recommend reading Legend. The next genre is historical fiction, and I've chosen The Red Queen by Philippa Gregory. This is another follow-up. It's the follow-up to The White Queen. I'm not going to talk about it in too much detail, other than saying that in The Red Queen, it's told from the point of view of Margaret Beaufort. I think that's how you say her name. I chose this book because I really enjoyed The White Queen last year, and I want to see where it goes. For horror fiction, I chose The Shining by Stephen King. I've watched the film a few times, and I always say that books are better than the film, so I want to read it to find out if it's true in this case. And I imagine it would probably be creepier in words than it is in pictures, so I'm looking forward to reading this. My fantasy fiction choice is Angel Fall by Susan E. It's about a world where angels have descended to destroy the modern world for some reason or another, and there's a girl called Penryn whose sister is taken by a warrior angel. She comes across a broken angel called Raph, who he's obviously trying to get his angel status back, or some I don't know, I'm just going from the blurb, and they have to work with each other to try and get to the angel's stronghold, which makes it sound like Saints Row. And now I'm just imagining them driving around in purple cars, listening to hip-hop music and wearing big silly pin pads. Anyway, they're trying to get to the angel's stronghold because Penryn wants to get her sister back and Raph wants to be a complete angel again, and I'm looking forward to reading this. I actually got it for 99p just before Christmas when Amazon were doing a sale, so I doubt it's still on offer, but it's worth looking at least. The last genre is Western fiction. This was a genre I really struggled with because it's not something I've ever read before. It's not something I've ever really wanted to read before, but the issue I had was that when I searched on Amazon or Goodreads, most of it seemed to be like Western romance. After a bit of searching though, I managed to find something which I believe fits the bill, and it's kind of a Western crime fiction book. And that's called The Cold Dish by Craig Johnson. It follows a sheriff in a Wyoming county who comes across a case where a man turns up dead. But this isn't just any average Joe, this man has a history. A few years ago, he and a few accomplices were given a suspended sentence for raping a girl, and what he has to try and figure out is, has this man just been killed, did he just die, or was somebody looking for revenge? So I'm actually quite excited to read that. Those are my 12 options for the 2014 genre challenge. I tried to do it last year, but I only got through about half of them, which really disappointed me. This year I really took the time to sit down and do a lot of research and explore and pick out 12 books which I feel I would really enjoy, so I actually want to read them. I think what I'm going to try and do is read them all in the first half of the year, so I don't get to say October and November and I've read 2 books and I think, well, you know, it's November, I may as well give up now. Hopefully it all goes to plan and I broaden my horizons a little bit, which will be great. I'll link to the blog post about this below, and if you want to join in, then go for it. I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of reading to do by the looks of things. If you take part, please let me know what you'll be reading and what your choices are, and if we've got any that are the same. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, hit subscribe wherever that big red button may be. Bye! The next genre is romance fiction, and for that I've chosen Chocolate Wishes by Trisha The Hound of the Baskervilles. Can't say Baskervilles at all.